All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the alaracanfieldshow, the Awaken Happiness Now Global Series. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And if you are new to me, to my show, if you're watching live on YouTube or watching the replay, please do subscribe and watch all the wonderful episodes. It is my deepest wish, desire, and intention to bring forward to you wonderful guests, speakers, teachers, light workers, way showers, to bring you support, resources, tools, wisdom, teachings to help you thrive in your life, to help you on your journey. We're all on a journey, but to help you on your journey, to give you more ease with your journey. Some wonderful, wonderful guests. And again, it's, for me, this platform is such a gift and such a blessing. And I'm so grateful that I get to do this, because it helps me to raise the vibration and frequency of myself, the planet, the collective, and help to raise your vibration frequency as well, so that you can truly be who you are meant to be, who you truly are at your core, and just thrive and enjoy life. Life is short, life is precious. And so be grateful, and thank you for being here with us today. And my good friend Dipal Shah is back with us. It's been a while, but she's back with us today. And we're going to be talking about quantum brain transformation for a thriving life. And so some of what we're going to discuss today on the show includes a new breakthrough that will make you feel alive and keep your brain healthy at any age. We're going to talk about how your brain controls all bodily functioning. We're going to talk about how you have the power to change and transform your brain health right now. And we're going to talk about high frequency energies that can allow for higher brain functions that you deserve. All that and more. And for those of you who don't know Dipal, she's been with us a few times, I think many times before. And so we're so glad that she's back with us today. And just really quickly, she is a medical intuitive and mindset expert who offers a transformative experience for empaths to gain control of both your body and mind through powerful tools and techniques. And with her knowledge of Eastern and Western medicine, you can awaken your spiritual mastery and achieve physical healing for your body, mind, and spirit. And Dipal's quantum body awakening modality teaches you how to communicate with your body, remove blocks, heal the hara, and restore prana to the organs, glands, and systems for healing at the core. And Dipal will guide you every step of the way to develop confidence, overcome fear, and live authentically. Her intuitive healing training equips you with the skills to heal yourself and others using your 8 clairs. She is an award-winning international bestselling author who has spoken at events that included Bob Doyle, Marci Shimoff, Rickie, Byars, and Keith Leon S. She has been featured in Authority Magazine, cover of BRAINZ Magazine, Best Holistic Life Magazine, Soeleish Magazine, The List TV show, ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox, and many other places, including many other telesummits and podcasts and radio shows. So we are so excited that she's here with us, and so grateful that she's here to share her wisdom, her knowledge, her teachings about the brain, and how quantum brain transformation for a thriving life is possible for you as well. So Dipal, welcome back to the show. So glad you're here.
Namaste, Alara. Namaste, everybody. It's so wonderful to be here. It has been a while, but I just love coming on your show. So thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you. And I'm really excited about this topic. As you know, my husband had a stroke, right? 2 years ago. It feels like forever ago, but it was only 2 years ago. And so we've learned a lot about the brain. And I've also been, I went back to school. I'm currently back at school learning about neuroscience. So I'm learning all about about the brain and neuroscience, and I'm just loving it. So when you brought forward this program, I was like, oh, I'm so excited to learn about this, to see how else I can understand how the brain functions and how it works, and how we can, use the brain as a tool, as a gift and a tool for us to thrive in our lives. So I'm so glad you're here to share this with us.
Same here.
So I want to just dive in, right? Because it's like, there's so much that we want to talk about. There's so much that is possible for all of us. I just wanted to ask you really quickly first, before we get into the questions. So we're going to do a lot of talking, a lot of wisdom in the show. But also, are you going to be taking live caller questions later, Dipal?
Yeah, I would love to.
Awesome.
Yep.
So
all I need to know is what is going on, and we'll see how it's connected to the brain, and we'll dive into different layers of the brain to help you and give you a mini process at this time.
Awesome. I love it. So if you do have questions for Dipal, you can raise your hand or you can type your question in the chat, but probably you would want to speak to Dipal because she might want to ask you questions. And the only other thing I want to mention here really quickly before we start is I'm not a doctor, Dipal, I don't think you're a doctor either. So all this information is just information for you to work with. If you do have any serious major issues, please see your medical care professional and work with them. This information and what we're going to talk about today is complementary. Like it can complement your, work that you're doing with your doctor, but just remember, we are not doctors here, okay? So we're not giving you any information about diagnosis or what you should do or anything like that. So please also talk to your medical professional. I'm very bad at that because I never go to the doctor, but I recently did finally go to the doctor and, I had to take antibiotics. So it's like, sometimes we do need the help of medical professionals. So just keep that in mind. All right. So again, like I was saying, Dipal, it's so wonderful to have you back with us. And I'm sure there are lots of new people who have not heard your story, especially about your medical intuitive journey, right? So, and I'm always excited about that as well for myself. So can you just share a little bit about your journey in becoming a medical intuitive and also how you are now using those tools and that modality to help others?
Yeah. So here's the thing. It's like I was so sick. And, when you feel that way where your world is just falling apart and you're in pain and you can't find the answers and you're visiting doctors every month and there's one thing showing up after another. And it's like you take one step forward and it's like 10 steps back, right? And that was like every day of my life. And you keep asking yourself, when is this going to stop? Where is the end? Because I don't see the light. And by then it's like thousands of dollars that you're spending on your health and well-being, and your pantry is filling up with supplements. And you're not really sure where all of this is going. And all you have left is hope. There's some part of you that is hopeful, and then other parts of you that are just hopeless, right? So like you, I have spent hours searching for a cure that didn't resolve anything. And maybe this story sounds very familiar to you, but how my story started was I finally left my beloved pharmaceutical job that I started with. I thought that was what I was going to do my entire life. There was no way I was leaving the pharmaceutical industry. I was helping people, get drugged up. But what I realized is that was no longer my purpose anymore. Like all of a sudden I lost interest. I felt like I really wasn't doing good. I feel like I wasn't really fulfilling the deed of helping others. I wasn't really in contact with other people. It was through the doctors, right? And so I quit my job. I started doing a lot of healing work because I was dealing with a lot of digestive issues for years. I mean, probably in my teens, but I never addressed it. I was like, it'll go away, right? And we all hope something will go away. Unfortunately, it starts to exacerbate at times and just get worse because we don't start addressing it quickly. So there was a lot of emotional issues, of course, going on too. And it was impacting my marriage, my kids, my family. It was just not a good place for me. So when I quit my job, I took some time for just me and I did a lot of healing work. I started to work out. I started to feed myself, like actually cook. And over time, I started to see a difference, but it just wasn't enough because I was still going to the doctors with literally, I was waking up in the middle of the night and pacing around my bedroom. And my husband would wake up and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm in pain." And when I'd go to the doctor, he's like, "Oh yeah, we could take your gallbladder out." And I'm like, "No, I don't want to take my gallbladder out. I just want to know what it is." And so that kind of scared me. And I'm like, okay, I can't go to the doctors anymore. And, like you said, Alara, a lot of times, yeah, we're not medical professionals, we're energy healers, So using it as a complement to alternative medicine, whether it's naturopath, whether it's allopath, whether it's Ayurveda, whatever it is, we have to find our path. What works for us. Yes, we can take advice of all these other, chiropractors. There's so many routes that you can take, directions, but we have to figure out what works for us. We have to have discernment. And that's one of the things I always teach my students, is always have discernment, because it's so important when you're making your health decision, right? I mean, I've been told so many things and I wouldn't even do it because I'm like, that doesn't feel right. So even though the doctors would tell me certain things, I'm like, I don't know about that, or give me certain medications. And I'm sure some of you can relate to that, right? You're given this big thing of pills and you're like, I don't know, this just doesn't feel right, And so that was me. So as I was hitting my head up against the wall, I actually started to recognize that I wanted to seek out alternative medicine. And in that, I found energy medicine. And I was so excited because I'm like, wow, if gemstones can heal, and, energy healing, like, even getting angel card readings can give me direction, and the pendulum. And I mean, I just went crazy over all this stuff when I discovered it. And I took class after class. And then I decided I'm just going to learn because I want to for myself and my family. Well, the universe had a different direction for me. And this is why I'm able to help so many people around the world, which I never imagined. And so I completely believe in divine guidance because that's what has got me here to where I am today, just fulfilling my passion and purpose and helping others to fulfill theirs. And it's just a wonderful place to be.
I love that. It's so amazing hearing your journey and your story. It's like a lot of what you said is similar to me. I mean, like the past couple of months, I've been like in the middle of the night pacing and not waking up my husband because he needs to sleep. Otherwise, issues happen, right? And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? But it's like, I'm very hesitant to like call an ambulance and blah, blah, blah. Right. So it's like, I'm just going to grin and bear it. It'll be fine. I'll see how I'm feeling tomorrow, right? And then tomorrow comes and I say, oh, I feel much better. And then it becomes like this circle, right?
Yeah,
but it's like,
we were talking about that, right? Like, because we don't know what it is, it gets worse, right? The pain gets worse because we're like, what is this? If it just had a name to it, because that's just how the brain works.
Yeah.
Like we just want to know. And once we know, like there's so many times I'll go to the doctor or I'll take my kids and the thing just disappears. And I'm like, well, where'd it go?
exactly. I'm feeling fine now. Oh,
Exactly.
and here, like where I am, my doctor does not speak English. My German is not that good. So it's like, she can't even tell me anything, it's like, can you like, what does this mean? What should I do now? It's like, I don't even bother going after for the follow-up. It's like,
Oh,
I'll figure it out. It's like, I'll Google
a
it.
different country has to be even harder,
Yeah, but it's all good. It's all good. So again, because you've had the experience with, your own physical issues, right? Your own medical issues. So how important it is to listen to your body, right? And so, and to listen to what your body's trying to tell you. And so I've been told that, you are kind of known as like a human MRI machine, right?
Yes.
So we know, I mean, I know now that everything happens in the brain. Everything is happening in the brain, right?
Thank
And
you.
so it's like, oh my God, I had no idea. But it's like so now I know it's like everything is happening in the brain. But the thing is, a lot of us don't think about, when illnesses are happening or when we're not feeling good, we never connect it to the brain, right? We just keep it to where it is. Oh, something's happening in my stomach, but we don't, make that connection with, well, it's something's happening in the brain. The brain is sending signals, etc. The stomach is sending signals to the brain and blah, blah, blah. We don't think about that. We don't, I mean, it never crosses your mind, right? But
And nor does it cross the doctor's mind.
True. That is true. So what does that mean, that you're a human MRI machine? What does that mean? Can you share with us what that, even can you talk a little bit about the brain and body connection a little bit?
Yeah, so my energy technique of quantum brain mapping, it is one of the most powerful techniques to rewire your brain so that you can have better brain health. See, I've followed the work of Dr. Daniel Amen, and maybe a lot of you may have heard of him, or maybe you might have not. But he took 1,000 patients and study different brains to see how the brain looks when dealing with chronic stress, which everybody has. That's like number one. And then depression, anger, brain injury, addiction, PTSD, and many other things. And he saw how the brain was completely changing in shape and size and structure. And some of the organs started to even show that as they were changing, that these pockets were showing up, meaning that these dense areas where it looked like there was nothing there was no activity. And so his work is so fascinating. And there are some pictures included in the page that we're going to share with you where the special offer is, and you can see that maybe your brain does look like this, you know? And so I had provided those pictures for you guys, but his work is just so fascinating. So I was guided to start helping people energetically, diving into the 5 major areas of the brain and the layers of the brain that I connect with through an Eastern medicine perspective. And what I have found is that when I was working when I started working on the brain was multiple energetic pathways that I had seen that are not working for people. And what I mean by that, it is that these energetic pathways that we are creating is taking us off our path. It's limiting us and self-sabotaging our journey. And you might find yourself like, that is like the number one thing. Every time I talk to my clients, they're like, people, I tend to self-sabotage myself. Well, why do we do that? This will give you a great explanation as to why that's happening. It's because the brain pathways, the neural networks are changing and you reprogram them. So what we need to do is take your brain and rewire it, okay? Because the brain can rewire anytime, especially if you've experienced trauma, brain injury, concussions, burnout, loneliness, excessive mind chattering, anxiety, depression, tumors, accidents. How many of you have ever been in an accident? I've been in like 3. Okay. And maybe let's say if you have neck pain, do you ever get neck pain and then go for a massage and you feel good for a little bit, but then it comes back? So
Yep.
it has to do with the brain. Now we also have toxins, right? Heavy metals, parasites, viruses, Epstein-Barr, eye issues, everything in our body. Like you said, Alara, it functions with the expression of the brain pathways and the subconscious and what we have created. So if you want to maintain good health, we have to work with the brain. I mean, it comes to the brain health. It is so, so important because with all the toxins in our environment, all, and I don't just mean like the physical toxins, like the chemicals and all of that. I'm talking about the thoughts out there, right? The thoughts and the feelings and emotions that we all share with the world, right? We don't just keep things to ourselves. When we get out there in the world, we might share our dis-ease, pain, discomfort with our friends or family members, right? When we gather in social settings, sometimes these things come up, even if you don't intentionally want them to. But these are toxins because other people are spreading them too, which we don't realize. And that's when we got to ask the question to our body, is this mine or is this someone else's? Right?
Yeah.
So because the brain controls every process that regulates our body. And I've worked with so many people. One of the things that's really interesting, Alara, is weight concerns. A lot of people are trying to lose weight, but there's parts of the brain that are being triggered that do not allow you to lose the weight. Okay. Like I remember working with a client and she was about in her 50s and she came to me one day and I knew something was going on besides what she was telling me. She had been dealing with depression and anxiety, eating addiction. She dealt with bullying when she was young. And again, at work, she was abused and had severe, severe back pain. And we find out that she was taking on her mother's energy from when she was in the womb. So when she was going to be born, her mom was going through abuse herself, anxiety and depression. And so this traveled through the placenta and through the cord, and she took on this energy to take it away from her mother.
Wow.
And so, yeah, and her mom actually had a really hard time with childbirth, and food was not available. So the baby was malnourished. And so you could just imagine all these years that this person was living with thinking that this is mine and claiming all this energy and trying to find the answers. And once we did the brain mapping session, she was able to realign and just release the pressure from her lower back finally, and her body and her neck. And she no longer connected with that energy of her mom. And that gave her huge, huge relief. And these are the things that we have to, we have to find out, right, for ourselves. We're always going to find different roots to different problems because there are so many layers, so many lifetimes that we lived. And so we have to continue the work, because if we don't, we're going to carry it forward. And that's called karma, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but with the work that I do with quantum brain mapping, we dive into 70,000 layers of the brain.
Wow.
And 16 dimensions and 5 organs to help you heal. Yeah.
That's
so
a lot.
Very different. Very different.
That's a lot. That's a lot. So I was going to ask you, on the page, we talk about 10 questions, top 10 questions for us to ask ourselves when it comes to how our brain is functioning. Did you want to just quickly go through some of those questions just so that people get an idea of, if they're experiencing, significant amounts of worry, depression, anxiety, that could be a cause for why or how their brain is functioning, right? Or dealing with the effects of the pandemic, what effect did that have on your brain? A lot of us, our movement of our body has slowed down.
Yep. Yeah.
A little
exactly.
bit.
Well, you know what? And a lot of times we worry, right? There's that energy of worry. And then, so what's happening? What's happening with your memory? I just worked with somebody today and she's like, Dipal, I'm losing my mind, right? How many times have you said that? I am losing my mind. Well, it's true. Your intuition is telling you that. Then, we don't have enough concentration with all this. Oh my God, these phones and computers and lights, even. It's like you can't even concentrate. There's too much going on to where you can't concentrate. You don't have clarity. You can't make the right decisions. You can't focus. And it doesn't only happen as you get older. It just happens because of the environment we live in. But how healthy can we make our brain to help us maintain and live in this world, especially as empaths? Let me just address that really quick, because, what I'm finding is that sometimes people don't even realize that they are empathic. Now, if you feel energy, if you feel other people's energy, if you feel that sadness come over you all of a sudden and you don't know where it's coming from, especially if you've been happy or whatever, or maybe you don't feel, but or you sense something, you sense tingling, maybe you don't have any sensations at all and you're just here, right? You're empathic because you're on this journey. Anybody that I find is on a spiritual journey, I find to be very empathic because they know they have a gift. They know there's something, right? But they just don't know what it is. So as empaths, you're going to feel things 100 times more. And your brain is going to feel it and it's going to show it. And so is your body. And that's why we have to do the energy healing work. And so if you're desperate to open your pineal gland, this is going to give you that access to greater dimensions. If you want to, if you want to work physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, brain reprogramming and mapping is going to help you do that. Because again, like you said, Alara, there's everything happens in the brain, right? So, and I know a lot of people are really feeling like excessively tired. Like for me, recently, every time after lunch, I would just get so exhausted to where I couldn't focus. I just wanted to slap myself a couple of times going, what up? And it's like, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was wrong. And I just realized that, when I dove a little bit deeper, it's like I lost motivation, somewhere along the way. And I had to go find it, dig it up again. And once I did, I just felt like I was back on track. There's only something that we need in our life to put us back on track. And so, a lot of people are also experiencing something else that's really, really important is balance. A hard time walking. I've noticed that as well in a couple of months ago where I was like, why am I like feeling out of balance? Right. And we can't always blame Mercury retrograde.
Right.
It's something in our brain that is happening. And so we need to really connect the dots.
Yeah. And, like a lot of people will say, well, it's a full moon or it's a new moon or, there's solar flares or, yeah, sometimes, but not always. Sometimes it actually can be something physical with the body and the brain, right? That's possible.
Oh, it's very, very, 95%, 99, I would say it's something happening in your body or your brain.
Yeah. So, so we're talking about these different issues that, some of us have been experiencing or that we might be experiencing. So, it is so important for all of us to have a healthy functioning brain. And so what do you think has been keeping people from having that healthy functioning brain? I mean,
Yes.
part of it is awareness, not even knowing that your brain is doing as much as it does, right? But what
Yeah.
else?
Yeah. So it's something that I see in that people are dealing with, and it's called neuromyths. Okay. Neuromyths are beliefs that parents, our ancestors, friends, colleagues, teachers, all the impact that they have had on you throughout your lifetime, starting with in the womb, as a child, as an adult, and they can affect you physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Okay. And so here's an example. Like I was working with a client, and she was, when she was a 12-year-old little girl, she loved to perform on stage. And one day, as she was performing, she forgets her lines. So she stops and she couldn't speak. And she didn't know what to do. So she looked at the teacher and she overheard her teacher whisper to another teacher, "She's so stupid." This impacted her entire life when it came to speaking up. That's why a lot of people don't even go on stage. There's some kind of fear there that got instilled within them from childhood, right? So this beautiful woman, she let go her dreams of performing. And every time that she had a creative thought, she would shut it down. Now, after brain mapping, she started creating again and also joined a class to teach young kids performing arts, which I loved hearing about. And then talk about rewiring the brain, just seeing the result at a cellular level and shifting on a physical level. It's just so dynamic how the body works, right? Because we're working on a quantum level. And so that's why this work is just so powerful. I also had, I have this amazing story about this 48-year-old that I worked with. And she was really upset because she had these intuitive abilities. And due to some traumatic experiences, she actually shut them down. And her husband wasn't on the same path, right? Like, how many of our husbands are not on the same journey that we are? I'll raise my hand. They don't understand, they're not going to support you. They're going to be like, okay, she does something. I don't know what it is. And so she really wanted to align to her gifts again. And so we opened up certain parts of her brain, like we did a little cleanup, rewiring, realigning, cleared out the heavy metals that we had found. And then what was interesting was that she was holding on to her husband's energy. And this was coming in from a past lifetime too, where she wasn't supported. And so she had shut down all her gifts from another lifetime. So it wasn't just this lifetime. And when we cleared all that, it was so nice to see that she's like, Deeple, I feel like a lightning bolt just hit me. And I was like, what? I was like, no, I don't want that for you, And she goes, no, this is a good thing because I can feel something in my body. And that's exactly what she wanted. So it's just so wonderful to see that people who want their abilities back actually can experience that with brain mapping. There's just so many wonderful experiences besides the physical that you can gain back with brain mapping.
And, there are so many people in my community who, they just want their gifts to be available to them. They want to be able to use their gifts. They want to know what their gifts are. They want to have access to their gifts, so, and again, like I said, everything happens in the brain. It really, truly does. And it's like, I'm very fortunate that my husband, luckily, I think he's regained, I'm going to say 85% of his, capacities and capabilities from losing everything, everything. He was completely like gone, to being able to do wonderful, wonderful things again. And, he's, I would say 85% or 90%. There's still a few things, not quite, but, getting there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, the brain can do miraculous, wonderful things. It can regrow, like neurogenesis does happen, and again, it's not just, a lot of times, it's having that faith, having that belief, and then, finding people who are actually working with the brain to say, yes, this is possible. Yes, this is possible. Yes, we can do this. Yes, let's see what we can do. And just knowing that some of the stuff that you dealt with your clients was, past life in the womb, and, holding on to other people's things. Like, we know that energetically, right? But we don't know that's happening even in the brain, right? It's like, how is that connecting in the brain, right? So I'm quite fascinated. So I love it.
Well, what's going to be more fun is that if you guys are here for the process, which I hope you guys are going to stay for that, we're going to clear some neuro myths there.
Oh, good.
That'll be a lot of fun. And, I just wanted to say, Alara, I know a lot of people have been through some really, really tough times in their lives. I myself had been through a really tough teen years, and these memories of being with our parents and growing up in like, I grew up in Jersey City, and it wasn't always the safest. There was a lot of racism, discrimination. There's of course neglect, abandonment, abuse. And we go through these times of depression and maybe even some people having panic attacks. I used to have panic attacks myself when I got older after my second child. And because the past had come back to haunt me. And that happens to a lot of us because the brain triggers memories for us. And we don't know when these memories are going to come up and make us feel like we're being attacked. And so you can go into these modes of PTSD and depression and anxiety and worry, and you don't understand where it's coming from. Now, along the way, I've also helped people clear psychic attacks and entities and curses and black magic to help clear the brain, because that can also get trapped within the brain and create a little bit of chaos. And so, there's a lot of things that contribute to brain health that I just want people to kind of think about,
Yeah, no, thank you. Because, and we've all experienced, I think I have always been depressed, so, and suicidal at times, not recently, thank goodness, but in the past. And so all of that as well affects your personality, affects your body, it's affecting your brain. So, we don't realize that at the time. We just think, oh, I'm having an emotional moment. I mean, like suicide is not an emotional moment, but it's like, yeah, whatever. But, but it's much more so. But, we just think it's like, oh, it's just emotions, right? But it may not always be just emotions. We know depression can be chemical based, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. And so, perhaps suicide is also, related to hormones and chemicals, and everything in the brain is chemicals and hormones, so
Well,
it's like,
everything is attached to an emotion, right, Alara? If you really think about it, all of our thoughts, feelings, emotions are attached to an emotion.
yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
unfortunate because some of these emotions, we don't realize them and we don't really pay attention to them, but some of them we do. And that's what takes us down a spiral, right? There are 34,000 types of emotions that the human brain and body can feel. And we can really spiral ourselves really easily down, and it's hard to come back up. And so that's where we have to really work with the brain, we have to work with the mind, and we have to learn to manipulate it. And that's what we're kind of doing here. We're saying, no, you're not working that way. I'm not going to allow you. And you know what? That's actually what got me out of my panic attacks and depression, is because I told my mind, and I know for a lot of people, it's not that easy. But for me, I needed to talk to myself. I needed to talk to my mind and say, I'm in control. And I want you guys to do that. Like, seriously, just take a moment. Okay. And I want you to tell your mind out loud or even in silent. Okay. But when you say it out loud, it's just so much more powerful. Okay. I just want you to try this. Just take a nice deep breath in and a nice breath out. Connect with your brain. You now connect with your mind. They're two different things. Whew. You might feel a lot of heaviness, right? And now you're going to say, I am back in the driver's seat. I am in control. And I want you to say it again. I am in the driver's seat. I am in control. And notice how that feels in your body. Notice how that feels. Like, it just feels like you might have this sense of relief. Like, wow, I'm in control. My mind's not going to take over anymore. No, it does not have to.
Yeah, I felt like a tingling in my heart space and just in my field expanding out when I did that.
Yeah. And I want to know what all of you guys are feeling. Just put it in the chat, because we don't talk to ourselves enough. We don't talk to our brain enough, and we have to. It's our child. Every organ in our body is our child. And in order for this vehicle to work the way we want it to, we have to be in control. Yeah. And we have to tell it what we want.
So what did you experience when Dipal was asking those questions, or asking you to say, I am in control, I'm in the driver's seat? What did you feel? What did you experience in your body, in your emotions, in your field? Belinda says, calm, peace, and feel like I am in control. Awesome. Good. So, that's something you want to say on a regular basis, because our mind is so strong and powerful that we can get caught up, right? Jane says, focus. Good. Yep.
And see, if you're not feeling it right now, let me just mention this, Alara. It's because your brain's not used to that. Okay. So you have to entrain your brain. So I want you to use it over the whenever you get a chance, anytime that you remember throughout your day, I want you to say it like it's a mantra. Okay. And you're going to say it again and again and again, and soon you're going to believe it. I promise you that you will believe it, and so will your brain.
And this is kind of like training the brain, right? Training yourself to really say that, yes, I am in control. So
Exactly.
Manisha says, felt heaviness in my chest.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that is contributed to so much grief and anger. And I could see that energy just coming up and swirling around her. And it's not like grief of passing of other people, it's just grief about life. So, I can't wait to get to the one-on-ones.
Yeah,
That'll be
exactly.
fun.
Yeah. All right. So we are going to take some live caller questions, not to worry. So I'm curious, and I know that your sessions are very powerful when you work with your clients, but are there specific areas of the brain that you focus on when you're doing a brain mapping session?
Yeah, so with my modality, Quantum Body Awakening, I get to work with the brain on a quantum level and seeing how the pathways work, seeing how the prana is flowing through the multi-dimensions, seeing how the brain expands, because the brain does expand a huge amount of energy. And that's why by the end of the day, you're like mentally exhausted, right? And you can't think straight. So because it expands so much, we have to work with the energy. And unlike the rest of the body, the brain actually is its unique ecosystem. And so when we rebuild the brain's ecosystem through brain mapping, which is 5 different areas of the brain, you're going to find yourself getting unstuck. And you're going to start to create exactly what you want, because we're rewiring, realigning, redistributing the energies within the brain and clearing the blocks, right? The brain structures can change, like I had mentioned earlier. And when that happens, we can't handle certain things around us. Like a lot of people have become isolated just because you don't like being around other people, right? I found myself doing that at one point for a very long time. Like my husband literally had to ask me, okay, do you want to go to this party? And I'm like, no, I'm happy just being by myself, and you can't live like that, right? At what point are you going to stop living your life because you can't handle what's going on outside of you? So anytime your body goes into fight or flight, you are experiencing a traumatic experience, or even if you're hearing something and your body goes into fight or flight. And this can happen from other lifetimes or this lifetime. And so what happens is we create these defense mechanisms. And the more you stay in this energy, it will change the brain, what it looks like. And over time, it could get better, but most of the time, again, you're going to start seeing one thing after another, right? Which is what we do not want. But I do work with 5 areas of the brain. I do help my clients clear any plaques and lesions that may show up in the brain, and really just help you maintain that brain health on a daily basis, right? So we have to look at any misalignments, misfiring, any damages that are there of the neurotransmitters, as well as the cells, the receptacles, the patterns and activations of what's happening. If the brain is overactive, underactive. So there's a lot of things happening when I'm looking at the brain. And so, it really is a very delicate part of our body, but yet a very intricate and fascinating part, as you know, since you're doing neuroscience, right? And it's difficult for a lot of people to understand how it actually works. So, I work with 5 major organs within the brain that's going to help you really fire up that brain.
And it's about creating those neural pathways, or sometimes it's about realigning the certain pathways to function more effectively, right?
Exactly.
And so as you know, my husband had a stroke, right? So there's a part of his brain that is still not functioning properly. So can a brain mapping session help someone who has had a brain injury or a stroke or head trauma, etc.?
Oh, yeah. So I've helped people who have had seizures. I have helped people who have had stroke, Alzheimer's, dementia, all kinds of things. Now, again, you're going to find a list on the page, on the special offer page, about what kinds of things brain mapping can help with. But if you have a specific question, then I'll be more than happy to answer it here. And you can even ask in the chat, and we'll answer those questions if there's something specific that you're dealing with. But you don't have to have a brain injury like a stroke or anything that serious or complicated to really have a brain mapping session with me. I mean, I recently helped somebody who had thyroid nodules, and another person who had a goiter and Hashimoto's. So there's various different areas of the body that are connected. Even teeth are connected to the brain. The eyes are connected to the brain, right? When menopause, it's connected to the brain, how our body is overheating. Or let's say you're lacking movement in the hips or the knees, or maybe you've had surgery. That's all connected to the brain, because the nervous system, which is the brain and the spine, provides voluntary and involuntary movements, right? And we don't think about it until we have a problem and until we go to get an MRI, which the doctor might recommend, and that doesn't happen to a lot of people. We're never going to know that there is a problem in the brain or a disconnect in the brain, right? And I'm not saying that I can see what's happening physically in your brain, where you need to run to the doctor and say, hey, my energy healer found this. I don't want you to do that. No. I'm just saying I work on an energetic level. So when we find trapped thoughts, feelings, emotions, trauma, past lifetimes, ancestral, karmic, anything that we find, it is on an energetic basis. Okay. And to help you clear these blocks and then help you feel better. But yes, do I tap into the physical, like what I might see? If there's energies of heavy metal toxicity, yes, I will clear that, right? Because there's so much going on in the subconscious that's trapped in there that we need to clear.
Yeah, makes sense. I would actually love to get a scan of my brain just to see how it looks and what's firing, what's not firing. I would love that, just because I'm studying neuroscience. I would love that. But yes, we are talking energetically. Everything we're talking about is energetic. We're not talking about physical healing or anything like that. We're just talking about energy work, right? And so, do you want to take some questions now or later?
Sure. I mean, and then we could do a process so that everybody can experience this type of feeling, so that you know whether or not you want to go deeper. And yeah, I'd be more than happy to take some questions.
So I think what we'll do is we'll take some questions. We'll talk about the special offer packages, and then we'll do a process, and then we'll go from there. How does that sound?
Perfect.
All right. So there's some questions in the chat, and of course, people with their hands raised. Sarah, do you want to go first?
I would be delighted to go first. I hope you are well today.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
So I had another time that I was hit by a car. Alara knows I was hit by a truck a few weeks ago. Dipal, also. So I'm recovering from that. But I got hit by a car that I was again in the crosswalk, and she was turning into the setting sun and she couldn't see me, and my head shattered the windshield of her car. I was wearing a helmet. Otherwise, I wouldn't have survived it. So I had tremendous disorientation and dizziness for years. And right now I can't tell if I'm dizzy or not because, I'm on a walker and so, yeah, I'm dizzy, but what's it from? So I would love to know if if it's healed, what else energetically I could do. I'm very disciplined about doing what I'm told. And I will just add that I've done things myself. I use an LED hood with blue lights and then red lights for brain restoration, and take lots of great nutrients, Ultra Brain from Ari Whitten, and help. Thank you.
Yeah, it's so wonderful to see you, Sarah. It is always good to see you. I just want to say that when I look into your brain, what I'm seeing is that there's 70,000 layers, right? And 16 dimensions. So I'm just looking at how many of the layers are impacted by what you have been through. And so when I look at that, there's about 7,000 to 10,000 layers is what I'm getting. Okay. And how many dimensions? So about 6 dimensions of the brain is being affected. Now, this is affecting your frontal lobe, is what I see, as well as the hippocampus. So there's 2 areas of your brain, 2 organs that are really affected. And what's happening is that you're having these things come up because there's memory, there's old memory from past lifetimes where you just kept getting hit with certain types of energies that didn't serve you. It didn't want you to move forward in your path, in your journey. And so it's like this halt. It's like this stop, say, like this big stop sign, and I could see it. So if you don't mind, do you mind if I do a little bit of clearing today?
Mind? Thank you. I welcome it. How can I invite you more enthusiastically to do that?
Okay, so anyone else who resonates with what I'm saying, you can also be open to receiving the energy today. So while I work with Sarah, I'm just going to go ahead and tap into the brain, and you might actually feel this. So just go ahead and close your eyes. And we're going to start with working through the layers of the brain and clearing that old lifetime memory out of the hippocampus. So I'm going in through the layers, but hitting into the hippocampus to access the memories. And going into the frontal lobe to work on that pineal gland. And you might feel like a little bit of like heat or thumping in the front part of your brain. And we want to release this. We want to let go so that these kind of traumatic experiences are no longer in your field, no longer invited, right? We just want to rid of them. Aki shiki amako onoko shiataki. And guys, this is light language. If you're not familiar with light language, it's nothing to be afraid of. It's the language of the angels. Aku omo oroko ti ishiamanaki ateki ilshu oroko utiki anaka. How are you doing, Sarah?
I'm okay. There's somebody walking into my house and saying hello, though. It's distracting.
Yeah. So come back to this replay and you'll really feel the energy once you're really in tune to what's happening here. Okay, once you're present. All right.
You're muted, Sarah. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I was trying to keep you from having to hear my neighbor yelling at the door.
No worries.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and rewired a couple of things and moved around, shifted some energy, some prana, the way it was flowing. So I want you to just take this moment and just kind of just breathe in and out. And when you get a chance, come back to the replay to really integrate this, what we just did, okay? Because I feel like you didn't get 100% of it because you were distracted, and that's okay.
Will I get it if I listen to the replay?
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
all the energy is going to be infused in here.
Yeah, hardly anybody visits me, and so things have sunk in.
But of course they did today.
Well, it's interesting because my partner wasn't feeling well for a couple of days, and this morning I realized I've got his virus, and it's like I was just feeling like I could walk again, but I haven't had headaches this whole time. But it did dissipate some.
Good.
The headache just then. And I also wanted just to mention that I'm going to sign up for your class tomorrow for the body fluidity.
Yeah.
And it doused very well for me. So I'll look forward to that.
See you there.
I hope I can wake up that early, but otherwise.
You can do it.
And Alara, thank you again for calling on me. Gratitude
Awesome.
to you.
Thank you, Sarah. Go rest and listen to the replay, okay? Or watch the replay.
Yeah, one thing that's happy. I've got to get off these drugs. My brain is scrambled. Is that when I felt like I was coming down with the virus, I said, well, all I'm doing is laying around in the bed anyway, so I don't have to do anything. So it's okay.
Just take it easy. Absolutely. All right. We're going to go to Manisha. Manisha, you want to unmute? Oh, yes, no, maybe so. I know you're, we can't hear you though, if you're there. There she is. I see your hand, but we don't hear you.
Hear me now?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have a monitor, so maybe that's, but anyway, I'm here. Hello, Alara. Hello, Dipal. Yes, I'd love some clarity. Yes, you're spot on about the trauma that I've gone through. So a lot of anger and guilt and frustration. And I've been experiencing a lot of anxiety, I think, because of all that, and some home issues with my son as well.
Yeah, I'm sorry you're going through this. What I'm seeing, Manisha, and I'm so glad that you're here. What I'm seeing is there's about 45,000 out of 70,000 layers of your brain that are being affected, along with 5 dimensions. So I would really have to go move through each of the dimensions as well as the layers. And when I look at the organs, because I work with 5 organs in the brain, 3 to 4 is coming up for you that are impacted by what you're going through right now. Okay. And what you have been through. So if I could just do a little bit of a clearing for you so that you can start to at least feel like yourself and better, I think that will give you more of a leeway than where you're at right now. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
So all that anxiety, like your entire limbic system, which is part of the brain, is kind of like congested. So when it gets congested, it's like this energy, it's like this ball, like it's just kind of like shuffling around, but it doesn't know what to do with that block, right? And that's why you need somebody that can help you move through this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move these little things, whatever they are, because I feel things with my hands. And so I'm just going to move it out from the limbic system, and you're going to feel like things are getting lighter in your head. Okay. And if you feel lightheaded, let me know. Okay. Because sometimes when we let go, you start to get lightheadedness because you're not used to that. You're so used to holding on to the density of energy, right? And so you might be feeling a lot of mind chattering, and you keep going in circles, because I see all these circles right around your chakras, right? And then your mini chakras right around here are all blocked. So we need to work on that for sure at some point. But just let yourself no, let this energy go. Don't have any resistance, because what a lot of people do is they create this barrier because you've lived with it for so long. This is like a childhood thing, Manisha. It's not something that just started happening as an adult for you. Either you've seen it happen with your own parents or some relatives in your family, or you've heard about it that has really impacted you, maybe your friends. Does this resonate with you at all?
I think my father, perhaps, you know, growing up, he used to, he wasn't very nice to my mom. So I'm sure you can understand where I'm coming.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So thanks for sharing that. So let's go ahead and clear, because it's like as if it's happening in your life and you're going through that trauma like your mom did. And so you're attached to that. So let's clear that. Notice how your entire body starts to calm down and the prana starts flowing. You're going to feel this light moving up and down your spine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you're very sensitive, you'll definitely feel that. Okay. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm sort of breathing heavily. I feel like something's coming out from my body. So the dense energy actually.
Yeah. Do you feel any heaviness on your chest?
Yes, that's what I said in the beginning. Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So it's as if there's like a rock on your chest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So let's just remove that. Let's see if it wants to be removed at this time. And we'll just give it to the guides. Do you feel that?
Yeah, I feel much lighter because I was breathing heavily when you were doing the process.
Okay.
I feel a lot like a weight has been lifted off my chest.
Good.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Good. Awesome. Thank you, Manisha. I know for me, I've been yawning like crazy and definitely feeling a lot of energy movement around the chest, solar plexus area, the head. There's just a lot of, a lot of stuff happening, which a little bit of it was uncomfortable, to be honest, but it seems to be shifting a little bit.
Thank you, Dipal. Thank you, Alara.
You're so welcome, Manisha.
Thank you, Manisha. Yeah. So if anybody else is feeling a little, like the energy is moving, you're yawning, you're feeling something happening in your body, just drink water and breathe. That's what I'm doing, drinking water and breathing, because the energy is definitely moving. All right. Oh, yeah.
I'm just reading these comments.
Yeah. Maybe we can take one more quick question and then we'll talk about the packages, because I want to make sure we have time for the process for everyone to receive that. Is there something in the chat that we can address? Because I know I said to people that we can address for people.
Okay, so Scott says, I've been working on rebuilding everything after a coma. I have yet to meet anyone that can help physical parts of me that are not working as they should. And I love the spiritual community. So that's pretty amazing that you came out of a coma. I don't know how many years you were in the coma, but the fact that your brain reawakened, and I don't know if Scott is here where I could actually talk to him.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Oh, he's not. And maybe he had to leave. But Scott, why don't you, if you can, and when you listen to the replay, hopefully you will, if you get a chance, go ahead and grab the program that I'm offering. And I would love to work with you one-on-one, because this is very deep, where your brain, I mean, you weren't brain dead, but it was in a way that you had an outer body experience to where that took you into a coma. So I would definitely like to work with that one-on-one. because that's going to take some time.
Wow. So interesting. So Julie has a question about she's discovered by a brain MRI inflammation in the brainstem and brain lesions, but she has no symptoms. It's great that you have no symptoms, Julie.
And you don't have to have any symptoms. These things can just be triggered. Either there'll be symptoms, there might not be any symptoms ever. It could be asymptomatic, or you can have symptoms later on in life. So you just want to make sure to heal these, because they can show up from past lifetimes too. Like I've worked with people who have had scars on them or keloids, right? Because they are coming from past lifetimes. It's not that, even stretch marks. And so we have to work with what shows up on our body, even moles. They can show up on our body, but there's a reason that they're there. It's reminding us that we've been through something, right? And that memory in our cellular level of our body is there, but what do we need to do to heal that? So I hope that helps.
Yeah. So would your brain mapping session help her with that?
Oh, definitely.
Julie, did you have any other question about that? I know you're here.
Because I think, Alara, it's really important to do not just when something happens, but preventative care when it comes to your brain.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Alara, could I just ask her a quick question?
Sure.
Dipal, I know you and I know your work. This started 2 years ago, where accidentally they discovered an inflammatory mass in my brainstem out of nowhere. And recently, in September, it showed that I had these lesions. And my doctor is a neurologist, is an MS specialist. You have MS. I go, I have no symptoms. And I don't know how to proceed with that, because my dad, we're deciding, should I take medicine preemptively, or should I, not, because that could impact my body too, right?
Yeah. So one of the things, I'm going to tell you, my husband's a neurologist, and he's a very, very good one. And I hear a lot of stories. And so I will tell you from what I think energetically, and just understanding the whole neuroscience and doing brain mapping work energetically, that if you have any kind of intuitive hit that something does not feel right? And I talked about this in the beginning. I don't know if you were here, Julie.
The early beginning. Yeah.
So you always need to have discernment, no matter who you're getting advice from.
Absolutely.
If something does not feel right, I mean, even whoever it is, right? If it doesn't feel right, then don't do that. Get a second opinion if you want.
That's what I'm about to get, a second opinion.
Exactly. I would do second and third,
But how would your work energetically, intuitively be able to assist with the actual physical manifestations on the MRI?
So when we clear the energetic blocks, right? These plaques and lesions that you never knew about and that you're asymptomatic about, it's from a past lifetime.
You sure?
Oh, I'm positive.
Why would it show up now?
Things just show up.
I just went through a spiritual awakening. It might be because of that.
Things stay dormant in our body, like a lot of diseases and illnesses stay dormant for a very long time. Okay, and then something happens and it kind of awakens. Okay, and then you start seeing symptoms, right? But I don't. I feel very strongly that you can do the second opinion plus the energy work, and let's see how that works for you. Okay.
I mean, through the brain mapping offer you have.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I've had energy healing, but nobody specifically that deals with the brain.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to help you. If you want to purchase package B, we could work one-on-one together and really tackle
It
this.
is a 2-year, like, I mean, because I'm just like, and you read about MS and then you're like freaked
No.
out.
Then you think
Yeah.
you have it.
Yeah.
No, then I'm like, no, and my doctor, because you know, neurologists like your husband, they are determined to come up with some diagnosis that makes them feel good.
Yeah. And thank God my husband's the opposite. He's like, don't do this to yourself, right? He'd rather you not have a diagnosis and you feel better. But it's a lot of times it comes from the people who want a diagnosis. So that,
Right.
you know,
That's why we're going for a second opinion.
Exactly.
But I will look at your package. Alara,
look
thank
at
you so much for allowing me to speak with her.
Oh, absolutely, Julie. I think that this was important for all of us to hear about. And you know, sometimes, like Dipal was saying, things come up, things get triggered. But in your case, you know, like if it was part of the spiritual awakening, it's coming up for you to know about it, to acknowledge it, to clear it, release it, and move on, right? So it's not, you know, sometimes when we are going through things, it's not a bad thing. You know, I mean, like I've been going through a lot this year, and it's like, it's not bad, you know, because I am doing a lot of spiritual work. I am working on myself. I am like all that stuff. So I know that some of this stuff is important for me to clear out, to work on, to work for myself personally, right? And so, you know, that's why it's like, you know, my husband had a major reset, and it's like, for me, that was his spiritual awakening. And at the same time, it was part of also another part of my spiritual growth, going through that whole experience, right? And so, you know, we experience things all the time, and it's like, don't give up. Just don't give up, and don't give in to what doesn't
my
feel
dad
right.
is a doctor, and these MDs believe in spiritual energy. Anything work like a hole in the head. So I'm not listening.
It's the way they were trained, right? That's all they know. So it's okay. It's what they know.
He's 83. I went to medical school. Dad,
yeah,
years ago.
he's not changing his perspectives on life anymore. So, you know,
Yeah.
it is what it is. Yeah. But yeah,
Okay.
work with Dipal, get that second opinion, and then see, and then go from there, right? See what happens.
Okay.
Everything happens for, you know, for your highest good, as far as I'm concerned.
It's just also somebody, an energy healer said it could be that because I cleaned out my energy, my emotional body, that the physical is coming up to be healed.
Well, each of your bodies has to be healed, right? In order for us to progress. Right?
Well, you know better than I. This is a new spiritual awakening. It was shocking to me. I'm like, really? Why?
Yeah, it's an interesting journey we're having. Yeah,
Yes,
thank you, Julie.
Thank you very much.
All right, Dipal, where are we?
Yeah. So do we want to do our process?
Yeah, do you want to do the process, or do you want to do the special offer first? Totally up to you.
We could do the special offer. So that way, if anybody needs to leave, they at least know what we are offering today.
Yeah, so I'm going to share my screen. Give me 1 second. Wait 1 second. I'm going to share my screen, and then we will talk about it. Okay. So this is it. Yeah. Can you see my screen? It's loading. Yeah. Yes, you should be able to see it now.
Yep.
Awesome. So Dipal has 2 packages that are available, package A and package B. There are payment plans available for both. And if you are an Inner Circle member, free or VIP, please do take advantage of your gift code. So there's a lot of information, but we're just going to get to the nuts and bolts. The nuts and bolts. What do we have? So here's all the wonderful brain scans. You know, it's like, oh, I would love to see mine. What does my brain look like? Some wonderful testimonials and reviews from a lot of Dipal's clients. Please do take a look at those as well, in case you have a question and, you know, somebody else maybe have experienced the same thing. So, all right, package A is for $147, normally $400, over $400, and there are 3 pieces to this. So go ahead, Dipal, I'll let you take over.
Yeah. So in package A, you get 21 days of remote brain healing, and it will provide you healing with, oops, I've got 30 consecutive days over there. So it's either 20 or 30. So can we just
Oh,
go
yeah.
ahead and fix that?
Yeah,
So it is
that'll be 21 days.
Yep, it is 21 days. And you don't need to send any emails in regards to your healing. The healing starts as soon as you make the purchase, and it will not affect other family members. A lot of times people are concerned that will it affect others? And then what we are going to be doing, and I say we, it's because I work with a team of guides, and they are of ascended masters. They are all of divine light only. And Shiva, Ganesh, Lakshmi, and many other guides that I work with. We will be scanning, clearing, realigning a lot of the brain energies for optimal function. Now, you can set your intention for what it is you want, but if you want to look at the 21 days of exactly what's going to be happening, is we're going to be working like with the vagus nerve, neuroplasticity, neurogenesis, plaques, lesions, virus cleaning, detoxing the brain and blood-brain barrier, memory restore and repair, focus, attentiveness, clarity, motivation, restoring balance, short and long-term memory, brain wave of consciousness and awareness. So we're not just doing the physical, we're also doing some of the spiritual. Remyelination of the nerve sheath, increasing motor skills and movement, blood-brain barrier detox, headaches and migraines, dehydration and oxidative stress, clearing heavy metals, doing a beautiful oxygen infusion, brain stem cell repair, pineal gland decalcification and alignment, as well as lower and higher brain optimization, which is the angel lobe, which has a lot to do with your consciousness, awareness, and being present, as well as downloading information, and complete brain gym. So basically working out your brain, okay? So that's item 1. And then item 2 is quantum brain mapping series. This is a series of 3 MP3s. One is silent, one is music, and the other, I believe it is where I'm actually speaking. So the Quantum Brain Mapping Series 1 is realigning the 5 major regions of the brain, 16 dimensions, and 70,000 layers of the brain to help you reestablish proper function. And so once this actually happens, you're going to notice this huge difference in the way you feel, the way you think, the way you move forward. And then we have the Quantum Brain Mapping Series 2, and this is all music. It's only, a lot of these are just 4 to 5 minutes long, and then you can always replay them or put them on loop or however you want to use them. Your body will only take the energies that it needs. It will not take more, it will not take less, okay? And so the second one is in training the brain to higher consciousness and that higher blueprint. We all have a blueprint that we came onto this earth with, and a lot of times we have gotten off of that blueprint because life's circumstances have taken us off that blueprint. And so we're just getting you back on your journey to healing by healing the angel lobes and allowing you to evolve on your spiritual journey and growth, okay? And then the series 3 is clearing scars, imprints, plaques, and lesions. Once you dissolve these unwanted energies, you're going to notice that your power, your light, and yourself, you're coming back into that. You're going to start to worry less. You're going to have less mind chatter. You're going to have more energy. And you're going to be actually able to have a strong mind. That's what we need, is a strong mind nowadays, right? So that's item number 2. Item number 3 is brain mapping healing MP3s. And there's 3 of them. So these are anywhere from 10 minutes to about, I can't remember what the other ones are. But this one, the very first one, is an actual a video. and it's brain strengthening and nervous system reset. So we're working with the brain and the spine, and we're resetting the brain waves. We're working with the 12 cranial nerves. We're realigning the seventh chakra, initiating you to higher awareness and concentration, initiating your spiritual gifts, and initiating you to your true self, that authentic self. So a lot of this is working with reconnecting the physical and the spiritual, brain and spine, so that you can integrate the new powerful frequencies of prana. Okay. The second one is an MP3, and it is clearing negative feedback loops. A lot of times we have shadows, we have these things that talk and we don't understand them, and this negativity that goes on, it creates a pattern. But what happens along with that is it takes our hormones and neurotransmitters out of balance. So what we want to do is clear the shadows of the mind so that you could be happier again, reset the neurotransmitters and hormones, connect with your higher consciousness, creativity, and your purpose. And then enjoy a deep healing process where you can maintain polarity of the mind, body, and spirit. Okay. And here in this negative feedback loop MP3, we're going to regenerate the neural pathways as you clear the negative feedback loops. That's exactly what's going to happen during you while you listen to this MP3. And then the third one is brain age reversal. We want to delete all the subconscious programs. I've talked about that quite a bit throughout this this time today. And subconscious programs, they are in every single cell. They are embedded in our DNA. They are even there in the quantum field. So if we can clear those, imagine how much more space we can create and how much younger our brain and vital we can feel. I mean, it's a huge and a very intricate process when we work with brain age reversal, but the outcome is very it's very rewarding. So we want to increase the brain's functioning so that you can process information quicker, faster reaction time, and increase your I can't even say it, longevity. And then regrow parts of the brain that have shrunk over time. If you're living in fear, what happens is the amygdala changes in size, because that's where fear is stored. And so we have to work with changing and reshaping the brain the way we want to. We're also going to work on resetting the communication amongst your neurons and increase the blood flow within the brain, as well as increase the mental functioning of the brain, the cognitive ability, and reset the structure, the way it's firing, and how the neurotransmitter, dendrite, synapse, all of that is moving in the brain. So of course, being a medical intuitive, I do focus on how a lot of the physiology is, the pathophysiology and the biology of what's coming up for you. And package B is all of package A plus a one-on-one session that is 20 minutes. And each session is going to be unique to you. So just come prepared with what you would like to work on, what symptoms you're having, like what's going on, what are your concerns? And then I, as well as my team of guides, will scan and provide a reading for what is happening energetically within your brain, whether it's affecting you financially, whether it's affecting your careers, relationships, and health, because they're all mixed in together. It's one energy. And so you'll receive an in-depth analysis as we do the healing process. If you've never had a healing with me, I do like to use toning or chanting or mantras, affirmations, light language, or even just silence during the healing process. You're more than welcome to speak during the process. I do not need you to be silent, because the way energy works, the more you speak up about what's going on and the more we communicate back and forth, the more you're releasing and letting go. Okay. And so I want you to feel that calmness. You may feel more clarity. greater consciousness, more motivation, happiness, bliss right after the session. But you're going to see a lot of things to come as you continue to use the recording of our session in the future.
Beautiful. I love it. There's so, oh my God, I'm so excited about this whole package, the package A and package B, because so much is possible. Since I'm learning about the brain, neuroscience, and all that, it's like, I can definitely see it. I can see it. It's like, oh my God, so helpful. So there's some wonderful testimonials here that people who have worked with Dipal. Please take a look at those as well. And again, the packages, package A and package B, see which one resonates with you, but I would definitely, package B with the personal session. I always like a personal session, I'll be honest. I always like to work with somebody one-on-one. And it's not just for people that have issues with the brain per se, but it's like anything and everything, because everything happens in the brain. So whether it's finances, whether it's relationships, whether it's digestive, whether it's, spiritual stuff, wanting to be more aware, present, conscious, etc. All of that happens in the brain. So package A and package B, payment plans are available for both. And if you're an Inner Circle member, please do take advantage of your gift code. So I'm so excited about this, people. I can't even tell you.
I'm very excited about it. So I really thank you for allowing me to share this, because this information, not a lot of medical intuitives out there, number one, and not a lot of people work with this at this level of, and especially coming from Eastern medicine, right? We have the Western medicine, we have all these different perspectives, but I always like to take my work a lot deeper, so that my clients can get the healing that's necessary. So
yeah. Oh, I mean, like, I'm thinking about, like, obviously for my husband, it's like, oh, it would be great, because like, even though like he's 85%, I would like him to be 100%. But even for myself, it's like, I have some not major issues, but I got some stuff going on, so it's like, ugh. And since I know now about the brain, it's like, oh my God, this would be so helpful. So really quickly, before we do the process, Jill has a quick question that she wants to ask. Jill, you want to unmute yourself? Because I think it's better if you ask than I ask, because.
Yes, sure. Hi. Thanks for taking it quick. Yeah, I wanted to ask about somebody with dementia. I saw somebody else wrote that in the chat as well, because my mother has dementia and she's not cognitive enough to ask herself or agree to a session. So wondering if you can do a one-on-one session with her. Like, I've done it before where I've been a proxy. And then also just, in general, I mean, I don't live in the same state as her. So playing MP with her, I can do when I'm there, but yeah.
Let me make your life really, really easy. And that's a great question. So I'm really glad, Alara, that we're talking about this, because a lot of times, like, I've worked with kids whose parents will, especially the moms, will want a session for their kids or their parents, right? Because they're not able to function. For instance, like for you, your mom has dementia. So it's whether or not the other person is on the phone, and most of the time they're not, because they're not in that full state. So it's all good. You can be a surrogate. I can actually, with my work, I connect with their energy, and it doesn't matter where they are in the world. It doesn't matter if you're with them or not. It has nothing to do with that. Once I connect with their energy, I can actually work on them. I do not need their permission, because what I work with is love and light only. So I do not ever tell people that you need to get permission from your loved ones, because we're working for their highest good. And if their body wants the energy, it's going to take it because it likes it, So you don't have to worry about that. You can get on the phone with me, or I could do it remotely. You can sign up at a specific time and I could just do it and send you the recording. You can play any of the MP3s on your own for your mom, because the intention is to help heal your mom.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Could you, for example, play an MP3 like I play it here and say it's for myself and my mom?
Well, when you purchase a program, it's going to be, each program goes with one person.
I see.
They are usually not shared. So if you are wanting a program, then you would have to purchase a separate one for yourself.
I understand. I just was wondering if I'm playing it for her as a proxy, like, do I get the benefits too? Yeah.
It's a good question. Usually people will purchase their own program to help them. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Nice to
So
meet
I just wanted to clarify, Jill, for you, just really quickly. So you can play the MP3s with the intention that it's helping your mom. Okay.
Yes, I get it.
Good. Awesome. Thank you. Good. And I think somebody else had a similar type of question. So, this will hopefully answer your question as well. Everyone's condition is different. Of course, everyone's condition is different for sure. But generally, I think, everyone's different. Everyone's unique. We are all.
And that's
all
why the
going-
sessions are unique, right? I have never worked with somebody with the same energy, same story, same anything. Everybody's got their own story, and that's what makes us unique. And that's what I love about this. I mean, otherwise I would have stayed in pharmaceuticals and, done the same repetitive thing again and again. But this is so much more fun for me.
Yeah, I can see why. So Linda's asking, do you teach people how to do quantum brain work?
I teach them how to do quantum body awakening, which is an entire program that I have. And if you did want to talk about that, then you can always email me.
Yeah. And part of that includes the brain stuff?
It does to some sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So do you want to, I know we're like, it's like, oh my God, what happened to the time?
Fine. All right. So let's do the process.
Let's do the process. Yeah.
And then I have another meeting to go to. So let's go ahead and do this wonderful process that I have for you today. So if you guys want to, so we're going to be working with high frequencies and doing a brain activation. And we're going to be clearing stress, because remember I said, what's the number one thing? It's chronic stress. And so right now, as I'm tuning into people, I can see that the collective here, it's 96% that is very high chronic stress, and it's showing this very low frequency. And it's contributing, for some of you, pain along the back. It could be the neck, the mid back, or the lower back. Okay, and it's running down your legs. So if you'd like to receive this, go ahead and say yes. And again, the energies will be infused into the replay, so you can always come back to it. Go ahead and close your eyes and take a nice deep breath in and out. And I want you to set an intention for what it is that you would like to heal right now. And my guides and I are going to start by opening up some channels around the brain, diving into the brain. 70,000 layers, 16 dimensions, opening up the crown, allowing the energies and the frequencies to be activated. Open and active, seeing which parts of your brain need my help today. Feel yourself just receiving the healing as the blocks are being cleared in different areas. You may feel some push, pull, tugging, coolness. Your head may be tingling. If your neck wants to move or other parts of your body want to move, it's all perfectly fine. Don't restrict the energy. Let's start clearing the neuromyths that is holding you back and that your brain is holding on to. The older you get, you lose brain cells. Clear, cancel, delete. The older you get, the weaker your brain gets. Clear, cancel, delete. The brain cannot be healed. Clear, cancel, delete. The brain size affects your intelligence. Clear, cancel, delete. Brain damage is permanent. Clear, cancel, delete. It is downhill after 40. Clear, cancel, delete. You cannot get your intuitive gifts after you lose them. Clear, cancel, delete. We can't learn new skills after a certain age. Clear, cancel, delete. I will never get my memory back. Clear, cancel, delete. I will never be happy. Clear, cancel, delete. I will never see properly or hear properly. Clear, cancel, delete. I'll never be able to remember anything. Clear, cancel, delete. I'm so forgetful. Clear, cancel, delete. I can't remember anything or anyone. I mix up names. Clear, cancel, delete. I can't make decisions. Clear, cancel, delete. I don't have good memory, focus, clarity, flexibility. Clear, cancel, delete. Let's stretch the energy. Let's stretch the prana throughout your brain, distributing the energy throughout the brain, the good, high vibrational frequency prana. And you might see colors, you might see numbers, you might see symbols as the prana spreads throughout the brain. We've cleared 65% of blockages, clearing 77, clearing 89, clearing 99, and clearing 100. Beautiful, going deeper, starting a brain detox of heavy metals, chemicals, environmentals, EMFs. Woo! Rewiring your brain to fire yummy energies to bring you more joy and happiness, mindfulness, realigning those neurotransmitter and activating the 5 centers of the brain. Feel that prana flowing through every cell within the brain, maybe even distributing down into your body, releasing the back pain, releasing the pain in your legs. Breathe in and out and allow it to release and let go. And as you let go, you come out of that downward spiral and we bring in hope, optimism, enthusiasm, passion, joy, freedom, love, appreciation for life, and grounding your energies into Mother Earth. And we thank the guides for this beautiful, beautiful healing and opportunity today, for all of us gathering in this beautiful sacred space. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Open your eyes when you're ready. And notice how you're feeling. Notice what's coming up, and this energy is going to run today and tomorrow and the days after. And just notice every little bit that shifts for you, even the small changes, okay? And then I'd love to hear from you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm still yawning like crazy. Oh goodness. But yes, when you were talking about seeing colors and numbers, I remember in that moment I was starting to see numbers, you know, and it's like, oh, she can read my mind. But yeah, I'm still yawning. So for those of you who are present physically and consciously, how was that for you? What did you experience? What did you feel? Linda says, wow, that was beautiful. Thank you for that. Yeah, it was quite powerful. Still a lot of stuff happening for me, and I can feel it in my forehead, the prefrontal cortex. Right, so there's stuff happening. Tanya says, I saw light in front of me. Awesome. Sarah says, may the divine wrap her wings around you and bless you. Oh, beautiful. Thank you. Yes, for everyone. Drink water, ground, and then like Dipal says, be aware of what you're feeling, perceiving. Jane says, release. I'm assuming releasing, feeling lighter energy. Awesome. And of course, you can go back and watch this again or listen to it again and repeat the process, right?
Oh yeah.
So please
Oh
do
yeah, I
that.
highly recommend it. Sometimes in a group, we tend to hold back. And so when you go and do it on your own, you'll see that it's going to be a little different.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely do it again, because there's, again, it's still, I think you said, people, it's going to be working for the next 24 hours or something. I heard something.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Next 24 hours. And so just like I said, you know, even the next couple of days, you might notice something in 7 days, but it's that powerful. But you have to be able to notice it, right? Sometimes we forget about it and we're like, oh yeah, we don't understand. We don't know where that energy came from or why it shifted. So just at least give yourself that time to recognize even the small shifts.
yeah, absolutely. From time to time, just check in and perceive what are you becoming aware of. So iPhone says, thank you, yawning as well. Jane says, empowered to know my guide is powerful. Awesome. Sarah says, hooray, 24 hours. Yes. So be aware of that. And yeah, cancel, delete. Yeah, cancel, clear, delete all the stuff that, you know, doesn't suit you, doesn't resonate with you, doesn't empower you. Cancel, clear, delete. Beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And of course, if you'd like to work with Dipal one-on-one, please get package B. If you cannot, then at least get package A, because then the MP3s and the 21 days of the remote healing is going to start working on your brain, on the different areas, on those different issues that we talked about in the call.
And Alara, sometimes people will purchase programs, but they want to upgrade later on. Is that possible?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You can always upgrade. Yeah, for sure. From package A to package B.
Perfect.
Do we need to repeat every day the process? No.
It just depends. I mean, Tanya, I would rather us do something one-on-one to where you could repeat that process because it's unique to you. This is a more of a collective energy that I was working with, of what I was seeing. You can use it, but in order to get a deeper healing, I would rather us do something together. That way you always have that recording and you can always use it and repeat that process.
Yeah, beautiful. All right. Whew. So much in this call. It was so fascinating. I'm so excited about it. It's like, oh my goodness. It's like, it's right up my alley. It's like, I love it.
Love it. Love it.
So any last words of wisdom for us, people, before we go?
You know, I just want to say thank you to all of you for staying for this time. I think it's been almost 2 hours. And I know we could get carried away. We, as you know, when you're on this journey, you want to take in everything that you possibly could. And I want to give you whatever I can share with you, my knowledge and my wisdom, so that you can take that shorter path. So I hope you will allow me to be on your journey, because I can't wait. And I invite each and every one of you to take this opportunity to really work with your brain health, because I think that is one of the top things that we keep going over and over again of the importance of brain health. And I hope you will take it seriously, whether you're using it for preventative or whether you're going to be using it for something that is going on in your body. So if you have any questions, you can always ask, because this is on YouTube, correct, Alara?
Yes.
So you'll be seeing the comments that come through and we can always answer it there. So don't be afraid to share whatever's going on. And if you have any questions, we're there for you. And I love you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. And like Jane says, this was over in a flash, right? That's how it definitely feels like. It was over in a flash. We just, you know, we had so much fun. And thank you everybody for all your questions, comments, and your feedback. I know we didn't get to all the questions, but hopefully you enjoyed the process. And even the questions that we did get to answer for each of the processes in those questions, you can receive from that as well. I was definitely receiving from that as well. So please do go back and watch or listen. And if something resonates with you, then receive that healing, the energy process, okay? And of course, please do work with Dipal. I'm so fascinated by this, that it's like, oh, this will be fun. It's like, it'll be interesting to see what can change in my life, because there's so much going on. And I have been under chronic stress, right? So like Dipal, you were talking about chronic stress or stress, period, but I've been under chronic and acute stress for the past 2 years. So it's like it's been difficult. So that has definitely impacted my brain, right? So there's so much possible for all of you because everything happens in the brain. We don't talk about this enough in this community, in the healing energy community. We don't talk about the brain at all, but it really happens in the brain. Okay, so we definitely need that brain health, that brain maintenance, and help with the brain to have it functioning properly. That's my little spiel on that. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Dipal. Like I said, this was I just loved it. Fascinating, so interesting, and I know that it is going to make a difference in people's lives. It will make a difference in your life because I'm learning so much about the brain, and all the stuff that Dipal talked about. It's like yep. I don't know if you saw me. I kept saying yep. I kept nodding my head, right? So please do take a look at the packages. Work with Dipal if you can, and go back and watch and listen to this replay again. Okay. So thank you so much, everyone. Until next time, may you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Sending you all much love and blessings always. Bye for now. Thank you, Dipal.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.